Hey, good afternoon and welcome to our last meeting of October. Our invocation tonight will be given by Mayor Pro Tem John Roberts, and I will lead us in respect to the flag. Please rise.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight thankful for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us. With so much turmoil, unrest, and tension building in the world around us, we're especially grateful to live in this great country, a place where we can work, worship, and fellowship freely. Father, I ask for your healing peace to rain down on this world, that we would care for, have compassion for, and love for one another, as you have directed us to do. Please bless the leaders, administrators, and employees of our great city. I pray the actions and decisions we make each day will be beneficial to our entire community, as well as pleasing in your eyes. As always, Father, I pray you keep our first responders safe. Please guide and protect them as they place themselves in harm's way to protect each and every one of us here tonight. These things I ask in your holy name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The minutes to our October the 9th meeting have been distributed. Are there any corrections or additions to those minutes? Not hearing any, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
First by Dr. Thompson, second by the Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes of October the 9th pass unanimously. I have a couple items of old business, and the first item is request second reading of ordinance 23-12, the annex and zone to RM18 multifamily residential, 1.44 acres located at 232 Fritz Drive, and approximately 0.75 acres located at Lot 23 Arcadia Drive. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, on final reading to you, Mr. Maurice McKenzie will go over this, our Plan and Development Director.
Okay, thank you. What's coming to you tonight for second reading is the annexation of two pieces of property. One is a 3/4 of an acre lot on Arcadia Drive, and the other is a 1.44 acre parcel as well, and you can see that highlighted in your attached maps. But the applicant is proposing to annex these properties in order to combine them with property they already own that's already inside the city limits. We annexed about 55 acres. It was a little more than 20 years ago, and these two pieces of property were not a part of that annexation at the time, but now the owner wants to sell all of their land, and in order to keep it consistent, with the inside the municipality, also with a consistent zoning pattern, they wish to bring it to you for annexation. There is no set development plan that's been submitted to the city yet, but you can see in your packet as well, there's a concept plan which shows a townhouse development that covers a good bit of the property that's already inside the city, and also these two pieces of property. Once they do submit official plans, those site plans, development plans will be reviewed by city staff, and they will need to meet all of our guidelines, including tree preservation, landscaping, things like that. Again, this is coming to you tonight for second reading. You considered this at your October 9th meeting and approved it on first reading. The Planning Commission also considered it at their October 3rd meeting, and they recommended approval of it. And in both instances, there was a condition stating that no road connection, driveway whatsoever would be connected through that lot connecting to Arcadia Drive. So once this is approved, we will work with the applicant to ensure that there will be no connection. We've already forwarded that information to them. They have no interest in making a connection to Arcadia anyway. Again, any questions from staff? I'd be glad to answer those.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Ms. Lockett.
Have you had any calls or anything concerning this property?
No, sir, not in the past couple of weeks. We had a few people attend the Planning Commission meeting on October 3rd. Nobody was really in opposition. They just had a lot of questions.
Gotcha.
And I think we answered most of those.
Most of that dealt around the Arcadia Drive.
Right, yeah.
That would increase property at which district, which seat?
Seat one,
Yes.
Mr. Newton.
With that, I'll make the motion that we annex this property under the condition that no street or driveway connection will be made into Arcadia Drive.
I have a first by Mr. Newton, second by Mr. Martinez. Any further discussion?
I think, Mayor, our new tree ordinance will also be a good, be a true benefit to the Arcadia Drive residents as well. So,
Absolutely.
Thank y'all for that hard work.
Good comment. Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second and final reading. The next item, old business, is request second reading of ordinance 2322, amending the business license ordinance of the City of Anderson to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020 and to define marketplace facilitator. Mr. McEwen?
Thank you. We did go over this in detail last time, but let me give a quick overview. The General Assembly passed Act 176 in September 2020 to streamline the business license process across the state, create the same process for each taxing jurisdiction. The standardization of the business license and practices is not optional, and it's now required by law. The Act requires that all cities, towns, and counties that have a business license adopt the same rate class schedules. The city is required to adopt a new rate class schedule every 2 years, and this is based off the NAICS, which is the North American Industry Classification System. And this determines businesses and puts them in certain categories based on their profitability using IRS data. The data was updated in 2023, and mandated rate class changes affect the rate class that the city can charge a business, and thereby this being before you again tonight. So we've done this a couple of times now, but becoming routine where we do this every 2 years when the new data comes out. The second thing that was inserted in here by our legal team was the proposed ordinance also amend the code to include the definition of what's defined as marketplace facilitator. It's defined by state law, section 123671 of the South Carolina Sales and Use Tax as a retailer, defines it as a retailer and shall pay a license pursuant to the schedule for retail trade. And just to go over that real quick, we talked about it last time. This is dealing with a lot of technology companies that are using platforms and then using contractors, their direct employees or contractors to do business within the city. And so this is matches state language, the marketplace facilitator, to bring it in line with that. And that was part of the standardization process too with the business license, is that everybody's using the same language, same classifications across the state. It's the same when you go from city to city to do business. And it was really, this was brought forth from negotiations between the business community with the Municipal Association of South Carolina and the South Carolina Association of Counties, and finally pushed forth and adopted by the General Assembly. And with that, a lot of the language should align with and does align with the state, their state gross revenue as far as state income taxes. And so they do use the marketplace facilitator. So to clarify that type of business, we recommend inserting that in as well. Just go over the retail business. We're talking about the retail business license here, which are our classifications. So it's right at 4.8%, which is 14% of our budget. And then we also have business licenses, that categories of franchise agreements and others that compose about just over 35% of our budget. So tonight we request approval of the ordinance, amend the business license ordinance of the City of Anderson to update the class schedule as required by Act 176 of 2020 and to define marketplace facilitator to meet the requirements of Act 176 effective January the 1st, 2024. So again, this ordinance is going to effect January the 1st, 2024. You'll see cities doing this statewide. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. This does get real detailed, and have Miss Lisa here tonight too that can answer any questions that you may have. We can't discuss proprietary business information, so any specific business we can't discuss that.
Good, thank you. Any questions, comments?
I'll make a comment about this, Mayor. I think I had a business I worked with recently, and I called the city about it. The city gave me a good definition of how we classify our our business license fees and how that works with the NACIS codes, and I thought it made a lot of sense for that to be consistent. I don't see any reason why we wouldn't want to update that to be consistent with everywhere else. So I'll go ahead and I'll just make a motion. There might be future commentary, but I'll make a motion that we go ahead and amend the existing business license ordinance to add the updated class schedule, and then we go ahead and require Act 176 to define the marketplace facilitator in the new language.
First by Mr. Martinez,
Second.
second by Mr. Harvey. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously on the second reading. We have 5 items of new business, and the first item is request consideration of appointments to the Board of Architectural Review and Board of Zoning Appeals. Ms. McEwen.
Okay, we still had a few more openings. So I'll turn this over to Mr. McKenzie. He'll go over the background.
Thank you. Correct. We have a few openings remaining on our boards and commissions, but over the past several months, you've reappointed several members and also appointed some brand-new members to our boards, which is really good to see. But right now, we have 4 open positions on our boards and commissions. We have the Boulevard Historic District representative on the BAR available. We have 2 at-large positions on the Board of Zoning Appeals. And also for the Planning Commission, we have Dr. Thompson's appointment. So there are only 4 spaces that are open right now, but fortunately tonight we're bringing to you 2 applications. So if you approve these tonight, we'll be down just to 2 open seats on our boards and commissions. But we have an application from Michael Calzar, who's interested in serving as the Boulevard Historic representative on the BAR. He does live on the boulevard, so that makes him qualified to serve in that capacity. Also, Cody Wright has applied to serve on the Board of Zoning Appeals to fill one of the at-large seats. And in your packet, you have both applications attached for your review. So again, they both meet the qualifications to serve. The staff met with both recently and discussed the roles, responsibilities of the boards, and they're both eager to serve. And if appointed, both of their terms will expire on June 30th, 2027. So we do bring this to you tonight, and we recommend approval for you to appoint Michael Calzar to the Board of Architectural Review and Cody Wright to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Thank you, sir. Any questions on applicants or the process?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Harvey?
I appreciate, I guess these people came forward and put in their applications to serve on these boards. Sometimes it's a thankless job, and we certainly appreciate the people in our community wanting to get involved in the decision-making process of the Board of Architectural Review and the Board of Zoning and Appeals. With that, I'd make a motion that we appoint both of the Michael Calzar and Cody Wright.
Have a first by Mr. Harvey,
Second.
second by the Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion? I agree with Mr. Harvey. Thank you for serving. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have 2 members to our teams, our boards. Thank you. Please, one more at the Board of Zoning and the Planning Commission, correct?
Yes, sir.
Good. Our next item of new business is request consideration of a referral to the Planning Commission, a petition to rezone 409 West Market Street from general commercial to RM10 multifamily residential. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, thank you. This is just a referral to the Planning Commission at this time, and then it'll come back to you just as the other items and old business did. Mr. McKenzie will go over the details of this request.
Great, thank you. Again, yeah, this begins the public process as a referral tonight, but the request specifically is the request to rezone 409 West Market Street from GC General Commercial to RM10 multifamily residential. The property has a single-family dwelling on the property. It's been in use as a single-family for many, many years. They wish to bring this into zoning compliance, and it's essentially a down zone as well. But under the current zoning, GC General Commercial, single-family residential uses are not allowed. So it is considered to be a legal non-conforming use. and they just wish to bring it into zoning compliance. So this begins the process. As you can see on your map, the requested zoning is RM10 multifamily residential, and the reasoning for that right now is because the RM10 zoning is the closest residential classification to this site. Again, it could be zoned R5 as well, but again, RM10 is the current proposed zoning just because of its location to the residential zoning on the southern side of it. Again, if you, we recommend that you refer this to the Planning Commission. They will consider this request at their November 7th meeting.
Thank you. Any questions, comments while we
This is
pass
in,
it?
seat 5,
Yes, ma'am.
and of course, it's can only improve that area. So I recommend that we refer these to Planning Commission.
Have a first by Dr. Thompson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Lockridge. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The next item is request consideration to purchase in-car mobile communication equipment for the police department. Mr. McEwen.
Okay, before Chief Stewart steps up here to go over this item, I do want to say that, through our budget process, our council retreats, we talk a lot about projection of revenue and unknown things. And you see us we reconcile that after the fiscal year for grants received and so forth. I do have a list here as the Chief provided to me and I received it from him. That just in 2023 alone, we're looking at the department, the Anderson Police Department receiving just about $600,000 in grants. And that's very significant. And it's significant that they're pursuing, these are all separate grants. The least amount one's $1,000 all the way up to $123,000, $137,000. But there's a lot of effort that goes into pursuing these, obtaining them. And this really, first of all, it provides first class equipment and technology to our officers who are out there on the front lines of our community providing public safety. But secondly, it helps alleviate the general fund and expenses to our taxpayers by pursuing these other dollars that are competitive. And so excited about the grants that the city has received. And so there'll be a good many items coming before you that are grant funded. In this case, though, this is that we're funding this through another unique avenue, and that's the avenue that we explored several years ago, actually during COVID, about visitors coming inside the facility, because we have a detention facility, and doing video conferencing with inmates. That's the technology we use. But now there's a technology platform where you can use it externally and pay for it. So you pay for it, we receive proceeds from that. The whole thing's still monitored, recorded, but the proceeds from that have also, just like you hear the e-share account, which is a split between drug enforcement monies that are split between the agencies that are also used to purchase equipment. In this case, we're using the video equipment proceeds to actually purchase this equipment. So again, it also takes away from having to go up on taxes to fund their equipment or rely on the state and so forth. So with that, this is radio equipment, and I'll let Chief Stewart dive into the details of it. Mr. Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. This says for 50 in-car mobile radios, and as Mr. McEwen said, we did apply for a grant for this one earlier this year through a small town and rural. We were not successful with that one. We did pursue that, but this is a mandate that's coming. We're very fortunate here in Anderson County that we're on the 800 megahertz network. The problem is our Motorola radios are aging out. They are about 16 years old, and the fault is that they're not able to be encrypted with this technology. Encryption basically means that it'll be a sole network that if you have a scanner or some way to monitor, you will no longer be able to monitor our channel when it becomes encrypted. That's both a safety issue for us and confidential issue of putting out things across the radio. This grant, we bid it out with a request for proposal. We published that on our website for 2 weeks. We did get the 3 local bidders, Kimball Communications, which we've done business with for quite a while. This will give us 50 in-car radios. We just purchased 5 with the new cars you recently approved. And we had actually 3 radios that were already encrypted available. And this will give us enough of those radios for all the uniformed personnel. Our walkies currently are encrypted right now, so we have that opportunity. The Sheriff's Office has already moved forward with this technology, so we are at a disadvantage right now not to be able to talk with the Sheriff's Office by car radio, but we can talk to them by our walkies. So that's why I kind of put in here that this is a mandate that needed to move forward.
Thank you, Chief. Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Harvey?
seems like I'm the one with lots of questions tonight. So this, it says, in-car mobile radio. So this is the actual radio in the car. They will still have, when they get out of the car, their radio with them, and that's already encrypted, did you say?
Yes, sir.
And so what will happen to all the old Motorola stuff?
They're basically useless. This is a mandate. It's not going to hit the fire and EMS world. They will not be required to be encrypted, but for law enforcement. Those of us that are on the 800, some other counties in upstate are still on what they call UHF frequency or VHF frequency. VHF is kind of like FM radio. UHF is kind of like AM radio. The old whip antennas you used to see with the Howard Troll. There are counties now with limited radios where they can talk with us, but they're still using their old radio bands.
And you've had, I noticed in the notes, it says that you've utilized Kimball Communications Company in the past,
Yes, sir.
and you're confident. How long will it take to switch everything out?
Well, it's a partnership with Anderson County, so we're buying just the package itself right here of radios, and we're partnered with Anderson County Radio Maintenance to get those installed.
And that's part of the consolidated dispatch agreement that
Yeah.
instead of having our own 911 center like many cities do and the county having their own, it's consolidated package, so we all work together on the radios. But I will add one more question, or answer to your question, Mr. Hartman. Right, these are the dash mounted in-car radios. However, the handheld radios that they currently have, I don't know if you have one.
I do.
They're a big brick. It weighs about 10 pounds. It's pretty heavy. I'm kidding, about 10 pounds. I think it's probably 5 pounds, but it's heavy. And but those they are encrypted. That's an old Motorola radio as well. But we did get a grant for the handheld radios for $123,000 that we were just awarded as well. And so we have an RFP out for that, and we'll be bringing that back to council. So we'll have brand new radios that actually the officer wears that will be encrypted technology as well.
Will it be still like that radio, or is it going to be able to move up a generation?
It move up significantly. I mean, that's still high tech radio. It's just old. They're not being serviced anymore, and so but it moves up to the latest technology.
Yeah, I'm make a motion that we approve for the in-car mobile radio upgrade for the police department.
May I ask if this is going to accommodate all our 50 units that you're buying?
This will accommodate all the marked cars,
All marked.
the decaled cars. Yes, ma'am.
So I second that.
Yeah, first by Mr. Harvin, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion?
I mean, I would like to upgrade. I mean, I think some of the radios, I've volunteered some things that have radios, and the old radios are like what he has, and the new radios are a little box.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's literally could fit in your shirt pocket.
Well, yeah, what you're seeing, and we wear those a lot. I have one I'll wear when we go on scenes, emergency management. But the ones that they're wearing there actually don't transmit. It's just a receiver, and they're about that big. And
No, this transmit.
Was that a transmitter one too?
Absolutely.
Okay. So yeah, it'll be much smaller.
Yeah.
The new
I mean,
ones.
it's amazing.
Right.
what
Yeah.
this thing
Yeah.
does.
But I mean, that thing's very heavy.
That's it.
Well, I think it's wonderful that we're encrypting it, because there's so many people that have scanners and that know everything that's going on, and sometimes it's not necessarily good to know everything that's going on.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
We had a first and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? We'll move on to our next item, which is request consideration of purchase vehicle dash cameras for the police department. Ms. McEwen?
Okay, this is grant funded, and this is the latest and greatest in dash camera technology. I'll add, recently, you saw one of our officers, Lieutenant Cornelius Pickens. He was featured on WSPA, and I sent that link to you. It's been a couple months for this new camera technology. It's all digital, and it was featured on there. And this is adding additional cameras to our fleet and using this grant. So, Mr. Stewart.
Thank you. This was the same grant that we did last year. If you remember, we were able to get 30 dash cameras, and those cameras are all installed at this time, and those were at zero cost to the city. We were very fortunate last year. The city jumped on this. It's always been the body camera program. Last year they added dash cameras to it to be able to apply. We reapplied this year. These 10 cameras, 5 will go in the brand new cars that we were just here at Council for in July. They're being installed in those cars. The 5 additional will go into cars that are salvageable now that we will have for quite some time. We were not as fortunate this year. There will be a cost for this year. Last year it was 100%. They funded it all the way storage for 5 years. This year they did not fund all of the support and the cloud storage. These cameras are very amazing. As soon as the officer stops a car, as soon as he turns the camera off, it's already downloaded into our server. So there's no thumb drives or DVDs or anything the officer has to do. It's all wireless. This is the best technology that we have, that we've seen out there. And the funding for this will come out of the DEA eShare funding for $16,498 for the 10 cameras.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, comments?
I have one. You know, all of this new technology is a good thing for the safety of the officers, as well as keeping down kind of legal situations that might come up. I think it's wonderful that we can continue to replace police equipment with better police equipment. I think it's an honor to be able to help do that. So in that case, I would like to make a motion that we adopt these new cameras.
Thank you. We have first by Ms. Lockard, second by Dr. Thompson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That passes unanimously. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
The last item of new business is request consideration for construction services for the Recreation Center roof repair. Ms. McEwen.
Okay, as you're aware, in our capital projects model, we've had this project in there for some time, and thus to dive into the recreation complex, some roof issues, some through flashing issues, and some so not only the roof but the facade as well. And what this does is takes the procurement approach, and that's what we're approving tonight, is the approval through the procurement that was completed. But it was the same process we used for that we did with both the City Hall, the Police Department building, this whole complex, the City Hall complex that we referred to, and the Municipal Business Center. We took this approach to do a RFQ for the contractor themselves, bring them on with our design team, and it's called the Construction Manager at Risk procurement that we have at our disposal to be able to do this. So it brings them on, the contractor selected, brought on the design team, they work through the final design, and then you get to a level of detail that's really good. That's what made this project that was extremely complicated. This project, the MBC project, goes so well. We didn't have change order after change order on little details. All that was thought through. And then they also, so when you go through that design process with the contractor, there's what they call a guaranteed maximum price that's provided. And so you're not getting a change orders because everybody agrees on what we're working with, what we need to fix, what we're going to have to pull out before we can fit something to see what it is. And there's an agreement there. You don't just get hit with a change order when there's something that you see. It's a very efficient and very good process for quality. And that's a focus here, particularly on the Recreation Center, where we had some sub-quality missing items that were constructed. And so that will fix a lot of that. Lucretia is here tonight, our city engineer, that she actually went through the procurement process, so she'll give a quick overview of our advertising for that. And then we have some representatives from DP3 that can answer any specific questions that you have. However, this item, once you approve the contractor, we'll go to the design team, we'll work on that, and then we'll be bringing you back the actual construction contract. So there's a two-step process here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McEwen. As we took this out to sort of like a bid, but we don't get a price, so we asked for qualifications, and we received qualifications from 3 firms, Maven Construction, Pickens Roofing, and C.E. Bourne. We are recommending to go with C.E. Bourne for this one. All 3 were very qualified. Our architect and roofing consultant has worked with all 3 of them, but we chose these based on, or evaluated them based on their ability to do the job, their time constraints, budgeting, who's got availability right now, their history of doing these types of projects before, their history with the city, kind of the standard stuff we like to look at with people that we work with. And right now, that C.E. Bourne was the standout in those categories. So if approved, then they'll come on board and we'll finalize the construction plans, and then we'll negotiate the maximum price as Mr. McEwen indicated, and then we will come back before you again.
Now, I will say C.E. Bourne was the contractor that did City Hall and NBC as well.
Yes.
So we've had a lot of experience with them. That was about a 1.5-year project.
And we have Daniel Atwell here tonight. He spoke to you all before. If you've got any specific roofing questions, roofing is not my specialty.
Questions, comments? Mr. Roberts?
Since I'm the designated contractor.
We were waiting on a comment.
Ask the question. Who did the scoring of the candidates? Did the city participate in that, or was it?
It was myself and Daniel and Rhonda from DP3.
Okay. Something I want to add to this, and this is my preferred method of any project with any complexities or uncertainties. I don't care how good you are, you're going to miss something if you're trying to do just a straight up low bid. And more importantly, I think what it does is, instead of the contractor and the designer being adversaries, if you will, they're really on the same team, and they're building a budget to get the best product. So that's the biggest advantage. And I think you will see better results with this process. So I recommend that we enter into this CMAR contract for the recreation roof repair.
Second.
First by Mr. Jeff Roberts, and second by Mr. Newton. Any further discussion? So on the scoring, at the end, we go back to the RFQ qualifiers and tell them the scoring aspect of.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Good. Anything else? All those in favor?
We did publish that. We did publish the scoring, this is worth this much, and
Up front in the
to each
RFQ.
category. Yes, so
Yes.
they knew what they were being scored on.
Thank you. Had a first and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes unanimously. All right, good month. Good job, guys. I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
First by Mr. Newton,
Second.
second by Mr. Martinez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll stand adjourned.